Coffee simple fast. That is hilarious.
Hello, and welcome to At Home with Lucas. So today we're going to be talking about ULALOV electric kettle model EK-C1. So in this video we're going to be doing a hands-on with the box, then a quick unboxing and first impressions on said kettle. After that I'm going to be putting this to the At Home with Lucas test. I am of course going to be boiling some water, brewing up several different drinks. I'm going to do tea, I'm going to do a pour over, I'm going to do an AeroPress. And then I'm going to figure out, is this something that you should actually spend your money on? Should you buy this, or is this something you should completely skip? I'm here for you so you don't have to waste your time buying and returning products. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it.
All right, let's take a look at this bad boy right quick. So you have the ULALOV. I don't know how to say that. That is very, very interesting. You have a little outline of what's to come in the box. ULALOV. Take a look at the side over here. So you have a 1200 watt as your power. Very, very simple. This is the model EK-C1. Coffee simple fast. That is hilarious. Coffee simple fast. That's all you really need in this world. Coffee simple fast. All right, let's crack this thing open and take a look at the kettle itself. Okay, so you have your user manual. This thing is pretty straightforward, so I'm not sure if you're gonna need to really even look at this, but definitely take a gander at it, people. Also, I did notice they showed you wiping it down. Yeah, you definitely want to clean the outside, otherwise you may end up with water spots, and because this is electric, you could end up with some problems. All right, let's take a look over here. This looks like it's the top. This looks like it's the lid. Okay. All right, so right off the bat, this is just this is so thin. Very, very thin metal. Wow, that is extremely thin. Wow, that is just very, very thin plastic. Extremely thin plastic. All right, let's take a look at the kettle itself. Dun 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 dun. Ha! It's got a little safety tip on the end there. All right. Ooh, ULALOV. Okay. So let's go ahead and walk around this thing. It's definitely lighter weight than I would have thought. It's made out of that super, super thin metal. Almost thin enough that you imagine this thing making so much clanging noise when you're going to boil up some water. Very, very thin. That is the biggest problem right now, right off the bat. If this thing is noisy and loud, it's going to be a problemo. But because this thing plugs into the wall, they're saying you could take this with you. You could travel if you go to hotels often and you want to do your pour over in the hotel room. You could easily travel with this and have yourself a great pour over or an AeroPress. I actually love the AeroPress. Okay, so that fit on there very, very easily. Yeah, wow. Very simple, very straightforward. Okay, I like that. The lid is very aggressive. It does not just pop off super easily. And it's got this little either metal or fake metal ring around the top, which has like a little bit of a slight grip to it. Your fingers just kind of grip it, so it makes it very easy to pull the lid off. That's actually made out of plastic right there. So yeah, the main thing is going to come down to the build quality. Ooh, what's going on there? Oh, that's on off. All right, I have discovered the on-off switch. All right, let's talk about the handle over here. The handle is actually not bad. I was expecting it to be way worse. I don't know why. Typically, handles are not designed for human hands. My only slight is that this is just the wrong angle, I think. But I think what they're saying is hold it a little bit lower than you would want to. Don't hold it so high up. But of course, I won't know until this is full of water and I'm doing a pour over of some sort or AeroPress, depending on how I want to do the rest of the filming. So yeah, the fact that this is so thin and tinny is really, really annoying to me. I feel like they really, really cheaped out on that. The bottom seems like it's made out of more solid metal. Of course, because it's covered in this plastic, you can't really get a good understanding of that metal itself. Now, they may push back and say all of the materials are designed because of this, and you have to be able to get this thing up to boiling at a quick speed. But yeah, so first impressions, I'm gonna say I don't have high hopes for this. I think this thing is going to be very loud, and it's going to be a complete annoyance. And yeah, the fact that it's just not made out of premium material just immediately makes me go, okay, not a super fan. But all of that could change if it does its job and it functions well and I don't have anything to complain about. Then yeah, it looks cool. Okay, let's talk about the look. So the look is very sleek, it's very handsome, it's very masculine, if you will. Very, very nice looking. I definitely like it a lot. The fact that the handle is just solid plastic, and it's also made out of that kind of plastic where you're like, okay, is this gonna hold up? It seems like it's a little bit on the cheaper side. And then you have, of course, just solid plastic at the bottom right there. Once again, they could have thrown some metal in there. Yeah, that's just gonna pop off. So all in all, I'm going to say that my first impressions are this thing is cheaper than it should be. I think it should be a lot better. But once again, they could push back and say, you know, we understand what you're going to be doing with this thing. You're going to plug it in possibly on the road, and we're going to make it lightweight for you, and we're going to make it cheap, people. It's cheap. All right. Coming up, we're going to boil some water. All right, let's brew up some water, people. Woo! Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is to take off the lid and look inside. There is a max fill line. You want to avoid going over that at all because this is an electric kettle. It is very dangerous if it boils over. So once you do that, close the lid on there and make sure that you get all of the water droplets off. I just basically do this with any kettle I use just so I don't get any hard water spots on my kettle. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting to notice there's a little lip at the bottom which looks like it's designed to catch the droplets and not let them go down into the bottom portion where the electricity is. So that's really, really cool. I like that a lot. It's not going to catch a lot of water, but it will catch enough that if you miss a few drops here or there, you're not going to electrocute yourself. So very, very cool. All right, let's power this beast on. I have never done it a day in my life, and there we go. So it has like this very interesting sort of pulsing blue as it starts to get hotter and hotter. Of course, I'm trying to get my camera set up right here, and that's why it's looking a lot darker than it really is. It's much, much brighter. There you go. Solid blue to tell you that it's boiling water, and that is very, very cool. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice if you fill it to the max fill line is that this thing is extremely quiet. It is very, very quiet, and not a lot of steam shoots out of the top. It's very interesting. I was absolutely blown away. And right here, I'm actually trying to get close enough for you to hear it boiling. And even with my phone that close, you still couldn't hear it very well. I did notice, though, if you have it below the halfway point, you will start to hear it clanging a little bit more. So when it's filled to the max, it somehow manages to sound dampen a little bit, which is very nice. But if you're below the max, then you're going to end up with a kettle that is making a lot more noise. So I was quite surprised by that. I thought at first it was going to be silent period the end, and it even boiled so fast that I literally had to pop the lid, which I'm going to do right here, and I'm going to take a look inside because I was so confused. I was like, did this thing actually boil and stop? And yes, it did. It actually fully came to a boil and stopped. And I will actually close the lid back up and turn it back on again just to make sure that it actually did what I thought it was going to do, which is boil the water. So it boils the water so fast. This is the fastest way I've ever experienced a water boiling kettle before. Also, it is extremely hot, so do take that into consideration. This handle is set up so that you're not too close to that kettle because it is very, very hot. And because it's something that's not sitting on a stovetop, it's a little bit more dangerous. There you go. There's the boiling water. So it goes over 200 degrees very, very fast. I was blown away by that. So it's quiet and it is a fast boil. All right, we are going to brew up a cup of Java with my AeroPress. If you've never seen an AeroPress before, you can hunt and find that video on my channel. I did a full review on that unit right there. It's a really fun way to make coffee, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. But the main reason I did this is that hole is very small at the top, so you have to have a precision pour over to do the right job. And as you can see here, this thing is not precision at all. It is very difficult to pour with, and you have to get used to it. And basically you have to put the spout on the edge of your brewing device and do it that way. It's very, but once you figure it out, it's not very hard to precision pour into a that's like a 2.5 inch diameter hole right there. And I mainly did this just to see the precision of the pour, and it's something that you will have to get used to, but you can manage with it. Just know that when you're at max fill with this thing and you're trying to pour it into anything, you got to be very, very careful because it will shoot out. The gooseneck on it is not quite as curved as I'm used to, so it's something you get used to. Once you get used to it, it will work for you. And as you can see coming up here, we're going to take a look at this coffee and see how, yeah, that is a very nice looking cup of coffee right there. All right, so now coming up, we're going to grab our thermometer and we're going to just plop it in there. This is seconds after I brewed it. We're just going to see what the temperature is. It should be about, I would say, like 180. I would imagine 160 to 180 is what I would guess it would be at. That's because it came out of a boiling kettle that was at 200. So yeah, there you go. It's just about 180. All right, let's brew up some tea, people. So here we go. We got our tea bag right here. We're gonna just boil up some water, throw it into the cup. Here we go. We got the water fully boiled super, super fast. And this is a very large cup, so it's easy to pour in there. But once again, you can see I'm struggling to get it any closer to the tea bag. And that's because this spout is just not as precision as you'd want it to. It needs to be curved a little bit more down and forward to allow for easier precision pours. And it's just too straight out. I wish it was just a little bit different, but nonetheless, it's something that if you work at it, you'll get used to it and it'll become second nature. Okay, so this is something that caught me off guard. I was totally surprised by this. I went to pull the lid once and the whole kettle came up off the ground. This kettle actually has water in it right now, and somehow that lid is able to lift the entire kettle off the ground. I was completely blown away. Could not figure out how it was doing it, because if you pull it quick and to the right or the left, pull it quick into an angle, it pops off easily, instantly. Just pops right off. Like you can see right there. But if you pull slowly, it picks up the entire kettle. I don't understand how it's working. So here we go. I'm gonna pull slowly and it lifts the whole thing. but if you pull fast, it just pops the lid right off. It's so confusing, very strange. So take that into consideration when you're going to use this thing, because that was very strange. Okay, so I'm noticing some settlement is forming in here faster than I think it should, and I believe it's because this metal is very, very cheap and very tinny, and I think that something's going on with the metal and my water. I definitely have hard water, but that is not the full cause right here. Something is off with this metal, and this is what I was talking about earlier. There is the max fill line, just so that you know how far up to go. Didn't mention it earlier, but there it is now. You definitely do not want to go over that max fill line, because you don't want it to boil over and cause an electrical shortage or even something really bad. So please stick with the max fill line. Don't go over it at all. All right, we have our pour over right here, and this is where I wish this thing had a thermometer. I really don't know the temperature right now. I'm guessing it's around 190, which is okay for pour over because I let it sit, but I so wish this thing had a thermometer in it. And this is actually where you start to see that this thing works really nicely for a pour over. You have enough room to really get in there and get your swirling going, your clockwise swirl, and it works really nicely. I was very impressed. The handle feels really good. I like the way that you hold it, and the spout, like I said earlier, once you use this enough, you start to figure out that you have to pull back a little bit, and you have to get the spout really close to whatever you're pouring it into. So take that into consideration as well. But yeah, the handle feels good when you're pouring it, and the spout, I wish it was just a curve down a smidge more, but it works once you figure it all out. And it definitely brews up a nice cup of coffee without the added benefit of a thermometer on the top, which I think this company easily could throw one in there.
Hey, what's up guys? I want to talk about a sponsor that I have for this channel, Don Pablo Coffee. Yes, people, Don Pablo makes an amazing variety of coffee. I actually went down to Miami, Florida and modeled for his bourbon infused coffee. Yes, people, they have bourbon infused coffee. This is coffee for the people who don't even like to drink coffee. This is coffee for people who love to drink coffee but are bored of the normal coffees. They have single serve bourbon infused coffee. They have whole bean bourbon infused coffee, not to mention all the other varieties they have. They are a small batch coffee roaster. Now you're probably thinking, what does that mean? What does it mean? I'm going to tell you. A small batch means you're going to get a fresher bean. Yes, people, everything they roast is roasted smaller, which means you're getting a fresher batch. All the other companies roast in ginormous roasting contraptions, and that means you're getting it less of a fresh batch. So click the link down below, go buy some amazing coffee, and let's get back to the video. All right, let's get into this sip review, people. I'm using a new microphone right now. I hope it's not terrible and loud. Lately it has been very loud, and I'm trying to figure it all out. I'm probably just going to switch back to my standard $16 lapel mic and get rid of this fancy microphone that's supposedly wireless, but still needs a lot of wiring. But enough jibber jabber, let's get into this sip review. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this smells very metallic. It has a very metal smell to it, and I'm guessing it's going to have a slightly metal taste to it, and that's very standard for cheap metals. So if you buy any kind of brewing equipment, whether it be a stovetop brewing equipment or a cheap coffee maker, and it uses that tinny metal, that fake junk metal, you're going to end up with this taste. And I've tasted it once before with my mocha pot. Actually, it was a very noticeable metal taste throughout the entire experience, and I cannot do that. I need a solid metal to do my brewing, people. I need everything to taste like coffee and nothing else. That's why I go straight black coffee. So here we go. Let's get into this sip review. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that metal taste is right there, and I have boiled up enough water in that kettle that it shouldn't be there. It should be removed. I do have a coffee cleaner, which supposedly removes all the taste. I may pour some of that in there and see if I can't get rid of some of the metal taste, but I think it's just the cheap metal that's causing it to transmit or transfer into the water, which then transfers into your cup of joe. And it's not noticeable enough. But yeah, definitely every sip, the smell, it is a metallic taste and smell. And when you smell inside the kettle, you smell that metallic smell. So definitely something going on there. I wish it was made out of better material. If you tap the side of the kettle, you can hear it's kind of tinny and it's just not made out of solid material. Now they may push back and say that the material is of quality, but it has to be a certain way in order to boil as fast as it does, because it boils up very fast and it has to take that electricity through it and heat it up. So whatever it's doing, I give it an applause because it boils my water so fast, and I'm very happy with that. But I'm someone who drinks my coffee black, so the slightest change in the brewing setup and I'll taste it. I can taste soap if a cup has not been cleaned all the way in a dishwasher. So my taste buds are so hyper that I can taste so much. And when you drink black coffee, you become accustomed to the taste of black coffee and nothing else. So when you add in some kind of tinny metal taste, boom, it becomes apparent. I have it as an aftertaste right now. It's very strong. Am I saying I won't use this kettle ever again? No, I probably will. It's not off-putting enough that I'm gonna throw this cup out. I'll probably finish it, but it's noticeable enough that if you're like me and you want good quality coffee, you're gonna need a good quality kettle, and this one I don't think is it, so you may want to skip this one. All right, there you go. That's the ULALOV electric kettle. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely clickety-clack that like button, and if you want to join the At Home with Lucas family and you want to be a part of this crew, hit that subscribe button. Every time I get a subscriber, I get a boost to make more and more videos, and it's because of you guys I surpassed 2K. Yes, people, on my way to 3K, but I can't do this alone. No, I need your help. Yes, you right there. Tell your friends, tell your family, this guy's on YouTube. They should go subscribe and watch my channel. But as always, I thank you so much for watching each and every one of my videos, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.